Skeletons of the Marital Closet by Tang. Chapter 1481. Natalie took a small steps due to the ankle restraints. Any slight jolt from her would alert the bodyguards. The bodyguard was following her closely behind as per his orders. "Gale, you have 2 children with Shawn. Why do you still want Arum? Can't you just return him to me? I love him so much, far more than you could ever love him. I would treat him well. I am willing to devote my youth and life to him. What about you? What have you done for him? You only know how to beg him to do things for you. When he needed you, begged for your mercy, you flatly refused." Gale gazed at her and said, "Natalie, I hope you understand. It was never me who took Arum away, nor was it Arum who wanted to leave you. It was you who pushed him away with your own 2 hands. You never truly had him, as you are now. Do you even think you deserve him?" "There has always been you between us," Natalie shrieked. "He loves you, loves your true identity as the Yarn family heiress. I'm just a substitute, a stand-in for you for over 20 years. You were born a noble heiress, and I'm an illegitimate child." Meanwhile, Natalie had been edging closer to Gale. She planned to grab the knife and take someone hostage. No one knew what Natalie was thinking. Mary said, "Natalie, you aren't acting this way just now. How can you blame Gale for what happened between you and Arum?" "Shut up!" Natalie suddenly stopped, turned, and pointed at Mary. "Stop pretending to be the good person here. I know very well what you truly are. You are hypocritical and selfish." Mary was stunned. Was that really coming from Natalie? How had she suddenly changed so drastically? Natalie pointed at Mary and walked quickly toward the bedside, the ankle restraints clanking. "You say you treat me like a daughter, but you secretly wish I'd disappear from your sight so as not to stand in the way between you and Gale, right? Dad has been trying everything to save me. What have you done? You did nothing. I hate you, and I can't stand the sight of you. You're the person I detest the most. Why don't you just die? Mary Peony Yarn." Mary Peony Yarn was Mary's full name. It was impolite for Natalie to call Mary by her full name. She had never done so, but she uttered Mary's full name with intense hatred right before her. "Mary Peony Yarn, today you will go down with me." Natalie leaped up, heading straight toward the bed. Mary sat there, staring at Natalie's contorted face approaching her. She was completely bewildered, frozen in place. The nearby bodyguard quickly intervened. Gale was also surprised. "Mom, be careful!" She hurried over, trying to shield Mary. However, at that moment, something unexpected happened. Instead of pouncing on Mary, Natalie fell on the floor before reaching her. Her head slammed onto the bed rails. Chapter 1482. However, she could not care less about the injury on her forehead. She scrambled up and deftly seized the fruit knife placed on the bedside table. The moment Natalie clutched the handle of the fruit knife, she thought she was halfway there. She finally had a weapon. There was Gale, rushing over to protect Mary. Natalie could not believe her luck. Her lunge toward Mary earlier was intentional, just a guise to divert everyone's attention. The bodyguard would surely try to stop her, but simultaneously, Gale would undoubtedly rush over to protect Mary. That way, Gale would be right at the bedside, not too far from her. Then, Natalie could seamlessly accomplish her goal. First, get the knife, then take Gale as hostage. The silver blade gleamed. The next moment, Natalie raised her hand from behind, grabbed Gale's neck, and then pressed the knife against it. The whole process was too quick and chaotic. By the time everyone came to their senses, Natalie had succeeded. She laughed recklessly. I've waited so long for this moment, endured so much. Finally, my persistence paid off. Natalie firmly held the knife against Gale's major artery in her neck. Just a small cut there would cause Gale to bleed profusely. Gale, my darling, Mrs. Wood. Everyone in the hospital room watched in horror. It was over. Gale was in Natalie's hands. Don't come closer. Her life is in my hands, and you all have to listen to me, Natalie commanded. Especially you. She glanced at the bodyguards, gesturing with her eyes. Back off. Further. The bodyguards did not move. All right, not stepping back, huh? Then I'll make a mark on Gale's face, Natalie said. The bodyguards were visibly frightened and immediately took several steps back. Okay, we won't come closer. Please come down. Don't harm her. Mary was dumbfounded, watching this scene. She could not understand how Natalie, who knelt before her, repenting and apologizing, had suddenly become a criminal holding Gale hostage. Natalie, put down the knife. Do you know what you're doing? You're seeking death. If you harm Gale, you'll have no way out, Mary pleaded. I'm fine with that. I have already decided that I won't live for long. Mary finally understood. No wonder everyone's efforts to save you were in vain. You turned out to be so ungrateful and deceitful and turned your back on those who helped you. Mary, what right do you have to judge me? Do you think you're so noble? Natalie, how could I raise someone like you, you ungrateful wench? Mary's refined upbringing stopped her from cursing. Chapter 1483. The worst word she had in her vocabulary was ungrateful wench. Natalie was indeed the lurking wretch within the Yarn family. So you finally speak your mind. Yes, I'm not your daughter. I'm the sty in your eye, your disgrace. That's what you truly think of me, Natalie scoffed. Mary's face turned crimson. Seeing this, Gale spoke up, not wanting Natalie to further upset Mary. I saw through you, Natalie. From the moment you kneeled in front of me and Shawn to apologize, you were plotting your revenge plan, right? Yes, you realize it now. No, I knew from the start that your swift and humble apology had a catch. That's why I didn't agree to spare you for Autumn. As for you successfully taking me hostage now, Gale sighed. It's not because you're clever or lucky. It's because of Mom's affection, giving you the greatest opportunity. It was Mary's love for Natalie that allowed her to appear in the hospital room. I figure it out, Natalie. You never had any intention of repenting. Your humility was just to execute your revenge plan better, to wait. Today, you finally got what you've been waiting for. I've been cautious around you, but not enough, allowing you to succeed. That was my mistake. When Natalie launched to Mary with murderous intent, Gale naturally had to rescue and protect her. It was instinct. Gale could not just stand by and watch. That was her mother. Yes, I owe a lot to Mary. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to execute my revenge plan so swiftly. Without her, I'd still be locked up in a pitch-black cell, not knowing when I'd see daylight, Natalie proudly stated. She thought she would have to wait indefinitely, not knowing when an opportunity might arise. She had stayed quiet, compliant, doing everything asked, willing to apologize as long as it would give her a chance. Natalie was anticipating Autumn to help her. Instead of Autumn, she got Mary. Well, you're exploiting her maternal feelings for you. Do you have no remorse? Gale asked. What maternal feelings? She now only acknowledges you as her daughter. You're still so obstinate. It looks like no one can save you. Natalie, what do you want now? Do you want me dead? Gale said. She felt remorseful. Despite knowing Natalie's disingenuity, she had not raised her guard enough, leading to this situation. What should she do? She was in Natalie's hands. She might die, or Natalie might use her to threaten Shawn. He would agree to save her. Die? Natalie chuckled. Shawn once said that death is too easy. If you die, all the pain, hate, and grudges disappear in an instant. It would be not satisfying at all. Then, you don't want me to die? Yes, I want you to be tortured, to live in misery, 1,000 times worse than death. Gale pondered. You want to scar my face, ruin my appearance, or disable me, cut my tendons, and make me a cripple? Or do you want to drug me to make me mentally unstable and have amnesia? None of those. Gale, you will never guess it. Natalie firmly held the knife against Gale's major artery, not relaxing for a moment. Chapter 1484. She knew she would not be able to hold on much longer. Natalie was not strong enough to keep Gale under her control indefinitely. When Natalie no longer had strength, Gale would easily escape. That would be terrible. Using Gale as leverage was just a temporary ploy. What Natalie truly wanted was to trade Gale for Joshua. The person she wanted to abduct was Joshua. Gale would stay alive, living with the lifelong pain of losing her son. Gale, what should we do? You can't get hurt. Peter was terribly anxious. Mary mirrored his concern. It's all my fault. It's because of me that we are in this situation. Gale, I'll save you. Mary attempted to get out of bed. As she lifted the covers, she said, Natalie, take me instead. Do whatever you want to do to me. At my age, living or not doesn't matter. You've got grievances, resentment. Vent it on me. Take your anger out on me. I didn't plead for you, didn't do everything to save you. It has nothing to do with Gale. You hate me, then take my life. Mary kneeled directly in front of Natalie. I beg you, spare Gale. Nothing should happen to her. Natalie looked coldly at her. Now you're begging me? If you had knelt in front of Gale and begged her to let me go, wouldn't that be great? Yes, everything is my fault. Don't hurt Gale. Peter reached out to assist her. Mary, get up. Natalie is a lunatic. She won't fall for this. At your age and your status, you shouldn't kneel to beg. It won't help. But it's Gale. She's Gale. Mary was tearful, filled with regret. She was to blame for feeling sad for Natalie, having a bond, thus allowing Natalie the chance to hold Gale hostage. Mary loathed herself, longing to take Gale's place. Please get up. Let's see what Natalie's intentions are. We'll negotiate with her, Peter said. Peter helped Mary up, then glanced at the bodyguards. Inform Mr. Wood what had happened. He needs to know. Just accept the punishment. Yes, sir. Peter dismissed the guards. He wanted first to ensure Shawn was quickly informed about the situation and to strategize. Secondly, he wanted Natalie to let down her guard. The professionally trained guards were continuously watching Natalie, trying to save Gale. Natalie understood that and was extremely vigilant. The sharp blade was pressed hard against Gale's neck, gradually sinking deeper until a faint cut appeared from Gale's skin. If she continued, she would get hurt. As expected, Natalie's grip on the knife slightly relaxed when the guards left. The muffled voices of the guards were heard from the door. They were talking to Shawn on the phone. Mr. Wood, it's an emergency. Gale is being held hostage. What did you say? Shawn, in his Wood Group office, suddenly stood up and slammed his fist on the table. Hostage. Who has her? Natalie? Shawn asked. Yes, Mr. Wood. Idiots. Useless. When you took Natalie away, how often did I instruct you to be careful? Did you take that lightly? Shawn roared. He knew Natalie was up to no good and had instructed for extra personnel. Gale was also suspicious of Natalie's apology. How did an accident still happen? The guards nodded submissively. Things happened too suddenly. No one expected, so... Chapter 1485. Did Natalie make any demands? Whatever she asked, agree to it now. We can't let her harm Gale. Shawn asked. Natalie was reckless, capable of anything. Nothing can happen to Gale. He could not lose her. Mr. Wood, Natalie didn't make any demands. What should we do now? The guard replied. Wait for me. Shawn hung up the phone and ran out. Fiona felt a gust of wind passing by. When she looked up, Shawn had already left the office. Fiona felt that something big must have happened. It was surely about Mrs. Wood. Only Mrs. Wood could make President Wood lose composure and act so frantically. Shawn gripped the steering wheel tightly and zipped past vehicles on the road, focusing on reaching Gale. Gale, I'm coming. Don't be afraid. I'm here. He would not spare anything to save her. When he took her to the hospital, she was so cheerful. The atmosphere was so beautiful and harmonious, bringing a sense of joy he had not felt in a while. She was only by herself for a little while. How could something like this happen? It was only a few hours apart, yet such a significant incident occurred. He escorted her to the hospital, and naturally, he would escort her out just as safely. His Gale had to be unharmed. It was completely silent in the hospital room. Mary wept, her face wet with tears, drowning herself in blame. It was her fault. Her compassion for Natalie provided Natalie with the opportunity to abduct Gale. Peter stood in front, closest to Natalie. Let's talk. Tell us what you want. Just don't hurt Gale, Peter said. Will you agree to my demands? We will. Natalie raised her chin, looking at Joshua. Good. I want him. Mary and Peter were shocked. What? Even Gale was startled. What? I'm not joking. I want Joshua. Want me to let Gale go? Fine. Trade Joshua for her. Gale did not have to think twice and answered, No way! How could she put her son in danger for her own safety? Impossible. Even if it cost her life, she would not put Joshua in harm's way. Peter said, Natalie, do you know what you're saying? What would you even do with Joshua? Chapter 1486. Just cut to the chase. Will you exchange Gale for Joshua? No. Mary, Peter, and Gale all refused in unison. However, Joshua's young voice rang out. Yes. Gale shook her head immediately. Joshua, don't speak out of turn. This isn't child's play. It's dangerous. She could tolerate trivial disputes, but she refused to budge an inch with something this severe. There was no way she would exchange Joshua for her. Big Beauty, I want to save you. I can't let the bad lady hurt you anymore. Your neck is bleeding. Joshua pushed past Peter, stepping to the front. It's nothing. This minor injury will heal in a couple of days. You don't need to worry, Joshua. I'll be fine. When Gale said this, she felt dishonest and helpless. How could she be fine in such a situation? Joshua, being smart and perceptive, knew what all of it meant. She could not deceive him. As expected, Joshua said, Stop lying to me, Big Beauty. The bad lady wants me, not you, so you can't be in danger." "Does that mean you should be in danger? Joshua, don't come here. Do you hear me?" "Big Beauty, I want to use myself to exchange for you." There was unwavering determination on Joshua's face, firm and without hesitation. The person he wanted to save was his mommy, his mom, who raised him and loved him the most, his Big Beauty. Gale shook her head continuously. "No, no, Joshua, stop, stop." However, Joshua continued toward Natalie. "Dad, Mom, hurry, stop Joshua. Don't let him come over. Do you hear me? Stop him. Don't just stand there," Gale shouted in agony. "Natalie said she'd exchange Joshua for me, but can we trust her? We can't." "I'm already in danger. Let it be just me in danger. Don't let Joshua get involved." Peter and Mary rushed forward, each grabbing one of Joshua's arms and quickly pulling him back. "Grandpa, Grandma, let go of me. If this goes on, Big Beauty will get seriously hurt," Joshua said. "If you go, you will get hurt too." "No, believe me, I'm smart and clever." No matter what Joshua said, Peter and Mary refused to let go. Joshua was anxious and helpless. He tried moving toward Natalie again, but Peter carried him, holding him tightly. "My good grandson, stay out of trouble. Your dad is coming soon. Wait a little longer. He might have a good idea. Don't rush in," Peter said. Joshua was serious. "I'm going to save my Big Beauty." "You." Before Peter could finish, Gale said, "I don't want you to save me, Joshua. Got it? Take care of yourself." Chapter 1487. She was really aggressive, and her face was flushed. Joshua looked at her, pouting, appearing aggrieved. He wanted to save her, so why was she being so harsh on him? Although Joshua actually understood, Gale didn't want him to be in danger. Gale breathed a momentary sigh of relief when she saw Peter hold Joshua in his arms. When Joshua walked straight toward her without hesitation, a vivid memory flashed in Gale's mind. It was the time Susan abducted her, and Shawn did the same, striding over directly to exchange himself for her. Unhesitant, unflinching, unafraid. Joshua was exactly like Shawn back then. They had the same demeanor. They genuinely wanted to save her and were willing to use themselves to secure her safety. At that moment, Gale genuinely felt like the luckiest woman in the world. Her husband loves her. Her son loves her. Her daughter loves her. She was completely surrounded by love. So much love from so many people. "Natalie, I understand now why you're so jealous of me. I have what you never will have," Gale smiled. "Are you showing off? You're in my hands now. One little movement of my blade, and you're gone. Do you know I control your life and death right now? You won't take my life. If you wanted to, you would have killed me first and then yourself. Why the delay? Why demand Joshua in exchange?" Natalie gritted her teeth. "Leaving you alive is to make you suffer." "I'm not suffering. I'm happy." "Natalie, you could have had so much love. You pushed away the love you had and then envied and resented me for having it." "I never had it." "You never had the love of Matthew and my mom. Did you never have Orum's love?" "No, they didn't love me," Natalie said. "You wanted too much. You must understand your place. Why should you demand that my mom treat you, a foster daughter, the same as me, her real daughter? Not to mention, you're the illegitimate child of a third party. Her acceptance of your existence and her love for you is already so great." Gale sighed. "As for Aram, he had some form of affection for you, but you insisted on a romantic relationship. Natalie, it's you who ruined everything, and then you feel that everyone owes you?" Natalie paused, struck by the truth in Gale's words. Yes, all along, she wanted what Gale effortlessly had. However, who was she, Natalie, to demand that? She was an illegitimate child, and Mary not hating her was already a positive. Yet, she desired the same love that Mary gave to Gale. Their status was different. What they received was naturally different. Gritting her teeth, Natalie said, Anyway, I have no turning back. Gale, I don't want you dead. Your son is willing to exchange his life for you. You'd better give in and save yourself. Is my son's life not alive? He's my son. Is your son more important than yourself? Chapter 1488. Gale nodded. Yes, you've never been a mother. You'd never understand. Don't worry, I won't harm Joshua. I just think he's small and easy to control. I can single-handedly control him. So, the idea of exchanging you for him came to mind. He's a child. You're an adult. I need a hostage I can control, right? Natalie quipped. Gale did not buy into her narrative. I'll never allow my child to be in the slightest danger. That made Natalie rather furious. You do know I can destroy your face, right? You won't be able to seduce men anymore, and everyone who sees your face will be shocked, Natalie threatened. Go ahead. My face has been scarred before. She had been scarred by a long, deep cut before. Over the years, she used various expensive ointments to minimize the scars. Gale did not care much about her appearance. Natalie was irritated. I don't know how many men would be drawn to your trashy character and be so devoted to you. However, if she could not persuade Gale, she'd try Joshua. Hey, brat, do you want to exchange yourself for your mommy? Natalie said. Joshua nodded. Yes, I poisoned you, and you hate me. You wanted to abduct me, right? But my mommy had no involvement. Blame the one responsible. Great, that's what I thought. So come here. You come, and I'll let your mom go. Joshua looked at the large hand restraining him. Grandfather would not release him. What should he do? He had to think of a way. Gale shook her head repeatedly. No, you can't, Joshua. I won't let you be in danger. I can't just watch you be in danger, big beauty, Mary offered. Natalie, you can take me in exchange for Gale. I can cooperate. I'm old and ill. I can't fight back. I'm the best option. You? I initially thought of choosing you. But after seeing Joshua, I'd rather choose him, Natalie replied. No, Joshua is a child. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't be dragged into this. You pick me. I'll exchange myself for Joshua. Natalie sneered. I'm aiming for Gale's 2 children. First Nicole, then Joshua. Mary looked pained. How did you turn out this way? I educated you and brought you up. You said you're grateful for it. Why have you suddenly changed? All because of your pressure. Have you ever genuinely considered me? Your heart only belongs to your own biological daughter. You dare say you'll only visit me once a year. If you genuinely cared, you could have appealed on my behalf, Natalie retorted. Natalie grew more irritated. Enough! Are we doing this or not? No. Yes. The person persistently saying yes was Joshua. Joshua, don't take matters into your own hands. Stay calm. Don't do anything until Shawn is here, Gale said. He had not arrived yet. He must have a solution. Gale believed in him. Joshua pursed his lips, glanced around, and whispered to Peter, Grandpa, what is it? Put me down. No, can't do that. Peter refused without a second thought. You might run off. If Natalie catches you, that would be so bad. How can she catch me? Peter asked. What if you run toward her? Joshua, I won't let your slyness prevail. Chapter 1489. Peter would have been incredibly accommodating to Joshua if it were any time other than this. However, the issue of his personal safety was non-negotiable. I won't. I'm just going to check if Uncle Shawn's here. He's the only one who can save Big Beauty, Joshua replied. Let's wait together. Grandpa, I really am going to get Uncle Shawn. I want to know what his plan is to save our Big Beauty and update him on the situation inside the ward, Joshua said. He kicked his legs, insistent on getting down. Peter held him firmly. No, you can't. Seeing his grandfather's firmness, Joshua calmed down and stopped struggling. Suddenly, there was a sound at the door. They had no idea where the sound was coming from or who it was. Wow! Joshua looked toward the door and shouted, It's Uncle Shawn! Shawn arrived? Peter quickly raised his head, his attention solely on the door. Joshua took advantage of this moment, quickly pushed away from Peter, and smoothly leaped out of his embrace. As soon as his feet touched the ground, he dashed straight for Natalie. All right, bad woman, I'm here to exchange for our Big Beauty. It turned out Shawn had not arrived. Joshua lied, deliberately diverting Peter's attention. He was caught off guard. How could he be this clever? Peter now wanted to intercept him, but was too late. Joshua was too quick, and in no time, he reached Natalie. I'm here. Let Big Beauty go and take me instead, he said. Natalie looked down at him. I didn't expect you to be this eager to save her. Because she's my mommy, and because boys protect girls. It's natural. Natalie's knife was still firmly pressed against Gale's neck. Aren't you going to let her go? I'm here. Why haven't you released Big Beauty yet? Joshua asked. Natalie observed him intently. She was concerned that Joshua might be playing a trick. He looked harmless and innocently naive, but who would have thought she had fallen into his hands? Natalie would not dare underestimate Joshua or become careless. That was her only and final chance. She could not allow herself to make a mistake. She had to succeed. She had to take someone down with her, and it would be Joshua. Have you got anything on you? Hand it over, Natalie asked. Joshua spread out his arms. You can search me. I don't have time to search you. My knife won't leave Gale's neck. Before she could ensure she had successfully apprehended Joshua, Natalie would not let her guard down. In the ward, everyone was on Gale's side. The smallest opportunity could lead them to rush forward to her rescue. Chapter 1490. Joshua shrugged and said, Okay, I'll show you myself. Look, my pockets are empty. My hands, my neck, nothing. He pranced and jumped to prove his point. Natalie said, Turn around. Joshua complied. There was nothing suspicious about him. Natalie sighed. Gale, oh Gale, you're so lucky. On the brink of death, and someone is willing to take your place. I envy you, really. She was sarcastic, basically adding salt to Gale's wounds. Feeling both sad and desperate, Gale said, Joshua, why are you so disobedient? I'm angry this time. I'm truly angry with you. I won't forgive you. Joshua looked at her. Big Beauty. He blinked, tears shimmering in his eyes. Gale could not hold back any longer, and tears streamed down her face. In reality, Joshua was scared too. However clever and resourceful he might be, he was still just a child. Even the most rational of adults would feel fear when put in this situation. Gale was scared too, but she did not know it. Joshua was the same. He was just better at concealing it. He was Shawn's son, and like a chip of the old block, he had a remarkable control over his emotions. If an ordinary kid saw this, they would either be terrified, start crying, and cause a scene. But Joshua was not only calm, but also doing his best to offer himself in place of Gale's safety. "Don't be mad at me, please. I just want to save you," Joshua pleaded. "I don't want your help. Now go back immediately." Gale's voice trembled, slightly hoarse. Shaking his head, Joshua said, "No, I will save you, but I also hope you won't be mad at me." "You!" Tears blurred Gay's eyes. "Joshua, aren't you scared?" She realized that scolding him would not work, so she softened her tone. "I am, but I'm more scared that something would happen to you." "I'm scared for you too, Joshua. If something happens to you, I'll never forgive myself. How will I face Shawn and tell Nicole that her brother is in trouble?" Gale replied. As soon as she mentioned Nicole, Joshua's eyes softened a bit. He knew he had to protect and care for his little sister from an early age. Since coming to the city, he had not spent much time with her either. "I'll do my best to protect myself. Big Beauty, you have to trust me, okay?" Joshua said. "No, don't, Joshua. I'm begging you. Just listen to me this time. Go back to grandfather and grandmother, please." Gale shook her head repeatedly. She was pleading, but Joshua remained stationary. "I won't listen. Don't be mad at me. Don't ignore me, big baby. I'll only be disobedient this time. I'll listen to you from now on," he replied. Gale's heart ached. She was more sorrowful than being in danger herself. "Joshua, come back." Peter tried to step forward to take him away. Mary also anxiously called out, "Yes, Joshua, how can a child like you be involved in an adult matters?" Peter took a couple of steps forward, but then heard Natalie say, "Stop." He had no choice but to stop.